Components like this are destroying RV service as we know it. Yes, I know that sounds like a bold claim, but let me explain. This is a control board for an RV air conditioner. This one is just an example. This one is out of a Furrion air conditioner, but it is definitely part of the problem. RV owners, today we're talking about something that's kind of been happening behind the scenes that you as a consumer don't really see, but it's affecting us as technicians and affecting you when it comes to DIY or repairability. Manufacturers like Furrion, Dometic, Coleman, they're moving away from analog control boards and moving to digital style components, which, let me be clear, it's not that us as technicians aren't willing to advance our skill set. I'm here for it. Bring new technology, but we'll talk about why it's a problem. We'll start by talking about how things used to work. This is a traditional Coleman air conditioner control board. And what you have here is a series of wires that come from the thermostat and connect to the spade terminals right here. Then you have your umbilical cord from the air conditioner connects here, and that is where the compressor and fan motor connect to. The control board decides which of those turns on based on the signal it gets from the thermostat. So with these old boxes, if I had an air conditioner where the compressor wasn't coming on, I can go check the yellow wire and make sure my trigger voltage is making it there. If low or high fan isn't working, same thing. I can check to make sure my trigger signal is there. I can operate the thermostat and determine if it's actually sending signal out to the compressor or the fan, all using normal electrical diagnostic tools like a test light or a multimeter to determine that. And even if you wanted to test something, let's say a compressor wasn't working and I wanted to verify, I could actually just jump 12 volts over to that terminal and I can activate the compressor manually. Not that that's a missing feature for you guys, but in the diagnostic process, it makes it faster and more efficient for us. But now things have changed. If you notice here, you got a lot more wires and stuff going on here. And the complaint here isn't like, oh, I have more wires to get through. No, it's actually just two wires in here that are the real concern, which if I can get these things unraveled here, these two wires, which are labeled A and B coming out of this Furrion thermostat, are your communication. There is no high fan, low fan compressor. There is digital communication between the control board and the thermostat. Now, depending on the manufacturer, the brand, or the particular model, you could have a 2-wire, you could have a 3-wire system, a single-wire data system. It could be digital bus. There could be a lot. So instead of sending 12 volts or a certain voltage down to each of these as a trigger signal, they're sending little data packets, little pieces of information down these wires. Information like, hey, turn the fan on, or hey, turn the compressor on, because the thermostat is asking for heat or whatever it be. It can just send data packets telling it what to do. And all of that happens over a proprietary communication protocol. There's the big problem. That problem is those signals aren't standard. They can't be diagnosed and read with typical traditional diagnostic equipment like multimeters. Even if your meter has an oscilloscope, it's not going to work. You can get fun tools that read pulse width modulations and can emulate pulse width modulations, but they're not using standard pulse width modulation. You're stuck with mystery wires and signals that you simply cannot decode. Again, I want to be clear, the equipment exists. Technicians like myself are willing to buy the equipment and advance our tool set and our skill set and do all of that. Some of the stuff I'm actually a little familiar with. So, I've struggled to try and find a way to determine what's actually wrong. But if the manufacturers aren't going to give us the command maps, if they're not going to give us baud rates, they're not going to give us bit timing, any kind of signal specification documentation, hell, even test mode protocols would be super beneficial. Manual overrides so we can confirm compressor, confirm the control boards, relays are doing what they're supposed to do, confirming thermostats actually have the correct outputs they're supposed to have. Without this information, this proprietary information from the manufacturers, special tools and equipment mean absolutely nothing because they don't have the proper packets and information we need. They don't exist in any public service manuals. They're not provided to technicians like myself. They're not even provided to the dealers. So what does that mean for you, the RV consumer? I've explained for a technician, it means we don't have a way to efficiently diagnose things. So it means a couple things. One, more money out of your pocket, more time of your RV sitting. Why? Because what these manufacturers and OEMs are doing, like Lippert, is when I go out to diagnose something under warranty and I say, hey, I'm telling the thermostat to turn to cold and the AC is not doing that, but I have power to the control board and to the air conditioner. Oh, well, try a thermostat. If a thermostat doesn't work, then try a control board. So we have to drive around with very expensive components that we can no longer sell to you. I have to own this. I own this control board because I have to be able to swap it in and then determine if it works now. Yep, it was the board. And after that, I have to order you a board or have a second one on hand. I can't sell you a secondhand controller. Some people will, I won't. So you're paying for more diagnostic time for us to fart around and keep swapping parts out until it works. You are likely paying for those parts because a lot of dealers, once they open that box up and put it in there, if it doesn't work, well, you already own it. They'll tell you the whole, oh, well, it needed a board and a thermostat. You've probably heard that 1,000 times. You didn't need both. You just needed one, but they already installed the other one and it didn't work. And then sometimes at the end of the day, they're just like, oh, well, we're going to just send you a whole new air conditioner. And that still isn't the problem. Some of you guys on TikTok might have watched that adventure of, 6 months in, finally getting a customer an air conditioner because they just wanted to keep swapping parts out. That's all they wanted to do. The other problem with these very proprietary parts and the data that's inside of them, this one here says version 1.0 on it. This 1.0 isn't going to work on every Furrion air conditioner, and then they want to change it. And nobody that works at Lippert seems to have answers on what goes to what. Just like they don't have answers on, I need information on diagnosing this. I have the equipment to check those signals. I'm convinced they don't know it. Whoever manufactures these for them probably doesn't tell them. They don't seem to have any information on that. As a matter of fact, I've talked to somebody who worked specifically in the division for Furrion air conditioners over at Lippert, and they didn't seem to have a whole lot of information on the difference between V1 and V2 because, again, they're having other manufacturers make this stuff, and they probably don't know anything about it either. At the end of the day, this is costing you money, it's costing me money, it's costing everybody more time, and it's doing the one thing that I can't stand about the RV industry, which is just filling a landfill with more parts because they didn't need to be replaced. We're already at a point where most RV components, they just try and replace them instead of actually repairing them when most of them are repairable. Hydraulic leveling legs, for instance, if you ask Lippert or anybody else, they'll tell you, no, those aren't repairable because it's leaking. You have to replace the whole jack. That's absolutely nonsense. Take it to any hydraulic shop and they'll rebuild it for you. And look, I'll be honest with you, digital control systems aren't the problem. This is the future. This is what everything is moving towards, is digital. We're moving far away from analog, and that's not a problem for me. It wouldn't be a problem if we had what we needed. Now, if the manufacturers would sell us a tool, and that's the thing, I'll buy the tool from Lippert, sell me a tool that you probably don't have that tells me that this control board is bad, or tells me that a thermostat is sending the map for high fan or low cool or whatever it be, and I'm happy. If we can get a tool like that from Airxcel or Furrion or whoever, I'll buy them all, right? We only have three major manufacturers for a lot of those parts. I'll buy all three of those diagnostic tools. Or hell, even just providing us with the information so those of us techs that are willing to advance our skill set and learn new things and learn new tools and get into all that stuff, I don't care if I have to have a laptop with me at work every day so that I can further diagnose things and diagnose them correctly. If that's what it means I can make my job more efficient, more correct, making sure I can get the right diagnosis the first time. I'll pay for that too, and I'll learn all of that too, but the information or the products are just simply not available to us, so we're stuck replacing parts. If you're an RV technician or even an RV DIYer, let me know. Have you ever had that struggle where you're dealing with a digital product like this one and the manufacturer can't really tell you anything besides try replacing this or try replacing that? Because I think this is going to become a bigger and bigger problem as we move forward with these types of control components. And again, if we don't start talking about it now, the problem's going to get too big before we even know what to do about it. And there's not going to be anything but parts replacers everywhere. Some of us want to be real technicians. We want to diagnose this stuff. So bring attention to the issue and see if we can get Lippert or Airxcel to make us diagnostic tools, sell them to us. I will happily buy one. Or at least provide the data to us so that we can use different equipment to test this stuff ourselves. In the meantime, if you guys want to see some more RV tech tips, tricks, and even some tutorials, make sure you guys press that subscribe button.